Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Well, we have had another crazy week in the markets. I'm sorry that I haven't put up a whole lot of videos. I haven't been feeling super well, so I've been taking a couple days off from making videos. But let's talk about some of this crazy red that we've been getting in the markets lately and where I think the market could potentially be going. Is more red coming next week? Is it going to be a little bit more green? When is the pain going to stop? So let's talk about this. So in my personal opinion, I really don't think that there is any sign yet of a slowing in the market's pain and the slowing of the continuing to go down in the indices. And in fact, if anything, this week has just added even a little bit more confidence, in my opinion, that we could continue to see a correction. We've been breaking through some major levels, some major support levels and technical indication levels on almost all of the indices, and showing very little support at these support lines and technical indicators as well, which to me just shows that there's quite a lot of fear in the markets and there's quite a lot of people betting against the markets and quite a lot of people probably even shorting the indices. So what have I been doing that's maybe changed compared to my strategy? So my strategy that I had a couple of weeks ago and still partially do follow is that I hadn't been selling a single thing and that I have been holding and just accumulating stock, okay? So I want to be fully open with you guys and tell you guys that I have had a little bit of a shift and I am starting to do something a little bit different. For me, this was based a lot around the QQQ, which is where a lot of my stocks are based around, and I am very tech heavy in a lot of what I invest in. Once I saw the QQQ break its last major support level and we went down and I think it was the 200-day moving average, you can double check me on that, but I think it was a 200-day moving average. We broke through that and showed no support. The next area of support is another 5-7% away. So to me, I am foreseeing some more pain, specifically in the tech sector, specifically for non-profitable, high PE companies. And quite frankly, that fits a lot of the description of what my companies are that I invest in. So here's kind of where I'm at. I still love those companies. I still want to own those companies. And I still feel like long-term, it's going to be a great investment to have those companies in the portfolio. But meantime, to be able to preserve cash, to be able to maybe buy some more in the future, is it the smartest thing to hold 100% of my position, thinking that with the thought in my own mind that we could continue to go down? I've decided to sell and trim a little bit of some stuff, okay? Now here, I want to be very specific on what I am selling and what I am trimming, okay? So very first of all, I am selling my DraftKings position. My DraftKings position, when I purchased it originally, was a fully technical based purchase anyway. I'm really not a huge fundamentals guy on DraftKings. I don't know a lot about the company. I have just been watching it mostly for technicals. So for me, when that technical hypothesis is no longer there and there's no longer technical conviction behind it, it was time to get rid of that. So I sold that this week. I sold a small amount of the following stocks. I sold about 20% of my Matterport. I sold about 20% of my Etsy. I sold about 20% of my Affirm, and I sold about 20% of my EXPI position. And I sold, oh man, I feel like there was one more. No, that's it. After those, that's it. That's all I sold. And I sold about 20% of my positions in those. So other than that, all my other stocks that I hold, my Enphase, my SoFi, some of my bigger ones like Tesla, Nvidia, these more profitable or sooner to be profitable companies, the ones that I have really super high conviction in fundamentally and not just on technicals, I didn't sell any of those. The stuff I sold is stuff that I have more technical based fundamentals to want to, more technical based conviction, I'm trying to say, which is what made me invest in them in the first place. And in a market like this, technical conviction doesn't hold. Okay, and all is going to come back to fundamental and what their intrinsic values are and what fair market value is for these companies. Okay, so for me, I shifted out of those and sold those little bits of my positions, about, like I said, about 20% on each of those. And what I wound up actually doing is using that to hedge myself, because I feel like the market's going to keep on going down. So I wound up actually sticking that money in SARK. If you haven't ever heard of that, it is basically short arc. Basically what that is it's just the opposite of what Kathy's doing at the ARKK fund, okay? And those companies, a lot of those companies are either non-profitable, high PE, and they're growth, innovation style companies. And right now the market is punishing these types of companies, okay? So if we're going based not on what I necessarily believe, but what the market in general believes and what the market is saying and feeling right now, then technically shorting these companies is probably the best hedge that we can be making if you don't want to expose yourself to put options or a 3 times leverage type ETF that's shorting like the QQQ or the SPY, right? So for me, that's where I wound up putting this cash, is I wound up actually parking it in SARK, okay? SARK, we'll call it SARK. And my whole philosophy is this. I see us going down probably to the next, and I know I just said that we don't want to do a lot of conviction on technicals, but for the indices, there is a lot of strength in these technicals, okay? And eventually the technicals are going to kick back in and things are going to get too cheap. Could it be on the next support line? Possibly, but I'm not going to close these shorts out until we get either down to these next support lines or until we get confirmation as far as watching the technical indicators and watching the markets day by day that we are starting to go back up. Until then, I'm going to keep this money in SARK, and I'm going to keep it there as a hedge. And the whole idea is that as the market goes down, as I feel like it's going to continue to go down, I'm going to be gaining money in my hedge, and it's going to be basically like an expanding, ballooning piggy bank, okay? And then after this piggy bank is full, and after the market has fallen to where I feel like we've hit a bottom, I'm gonna break it. I'm gonna break open that piggy bank. I'm gonna sell SARK. I'm gonna have a bunch of cash, hopefully, right, if everything goes to plan. And I'm going to be able to deploy that back into my super high conviction companies, okay? And my highest conviction companies that I have, if you guys aren't aware of, is I am super high conviction in Enphase, Tesla, SoFi. Those are my top 3. Then it's followed up by Affirm, and then after that, I love NVIDIA as well, okay? So those are kind of my top 5 companies that I'm really super interested in. And for me, after this news on the charter with SoFi, that is one of my most high conviction stocks. And honestly, I didn't even sell any of my SoFi during this whole trimming process because of how high of conviction I have. But I'm hoping that maybe the market being the way it is right now to growth and unprofitable companies, we might keep getting more discounts on SoFi. Even though this charter news is great news for the long run of this company, we might even get more discounts. And if that's the case, when it's time to break this piggy bank on this hedge, if this goes well, which I'm feeling fairly confident that it will, then I'm going to be buying more of these companies. And I'm super excited to buy more of these companies that I have high conviction in at cheap prices. Okay, guys. Anyway, that was just a little summary, kind of just talking about what's happened for me over the week. I'm sorry again that I haven't been making these videos day by day like usual. I just haven't felt my best and haven't sounded the best. And so it really wasn't a great idea for me to get on camera and to start trying to talk market news and everything with you guys. But anyway, I hope you guys had maybe a little bit better of a trading week than I did. I know that for most people out there, it was probably another negative week, unless you've been shorting the market already. And in that case, then congratulations to you. I'm sure you're doing great. And anyway, guys, I hope that you guys enjoy your weekend, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.